Good day to our esteemed panel members. I, Brent Lapena, together with my research mates, Ms. Micaela Alejo and Ms. Janelle Ramos, will present our proposed paper with the working title, Capiz Lantern, Nation Branding as a Tool for Philippine Maturation. Illustrated on the screen is the flow of the presentation. To go in further to the study, let us begin by having a brief introduction about nation branding. At the present time of an indispensable era of globalization, multilateral interconnectedness is the principal approach to decipher the problems and dilemmas that cannot be adequately dealt domestically. The theory of global system, as put forward by Sclair, classifies and empowers specified practices of political, economic, and socio-cultural factors as key elements of different countries for transnational coordination. Recognizing the rise of multilateral connectivity, the world polity theory, as postulated by Bowley and Thomas, invokes the world as a system of interrelated units. Globalization is defined as a process of efficient interaction and harmonious integration among the people, institutions, and governments of specified cultures and societies. The national government plays a vital role in the nation branding processes. Johnson identified that the national government serves as the principal initiator in the branding procedures. Be that as it may, the rise and prominence of non-state actors has been proven that they bring about far-reaching effects in diplomatic relations. Stengel and Bauman put forward the non-state transnational model, a theoretical concept devised to examine and evaluate the importance of non-government organizations in further consolidation of the country's brand and public diplomacy. By the same token, the domestic PR model exhibits and illustrates the prestige that public relations firms and associations have in promoting the image and reputation of the country. Through this model, previous studies observed that governments who established or collaborated with marketing and PR experts, like the Presidential Nation Branding Council in South Korea, further systematized the endorsement of any country in the international arena. With the existing studies and evidence of nation branding in different countries, the number of studies and published articles about nation branding prospects in the Philippines are inept and deficient. For that reason, the researchers desire to further classify the gaps and loopholes of nation branding as concept and practice in the Philippine setting. Specifically, this study will be suspended on the main research question: is there a need to establish a Philippine National Branding Council? And before we move on to the specifics, flashed on your screen is the definition of the terms used in this research paper. First is nation branding. Nation branding is an approach in which countries are employing branding strategies and techniques in order to establish or promote their national image and reputation. It is used to build a national image that is distinct from others and an international reputation that can contribute to the advancement of the country's national interests. Second, maturation. Maturation is used as a term that refers to the process of pursuing or establishing an advanced stage of development of the country's progress in terms of economy, national power, international image, and reputation. Based on the word itself, it pertains to the process of becoming mature. Domestic maturation is only achieved if the country has completely grown and developed for any of its functions. Lastly, the Capiz lantern. The capiz, a whitish, shiny, and translucent shell from the Papuna placenta mollusk, cuts a dash in the muddy or sandy shores and coastal waters of the Philippines. The authors describe this term in such context that the Capiz lantern signifies the luminescence of the Philippines, or a brighter Philippines, as the result of the establishment of a stable and successful nation brand. From this point forward, the problem statement or the research questions is to be discussed by Ms. Janelle Ramos.
Central to this queries is the question if whether there is a need to establish a Philippine National Branding Council. Under this are the following sub-questions. First is, what are the existing evidence of nation branding concepts in the Philippine setting? Second is, to what extent can the Philippine government sufficiently authorize a more dynamic, efficient, and timely strategic branding system for the purpose of further consolidation of the country's image and reputation? And for the third sub-question, how much of an impact will the different theoretical nation branding models can the Philippines institutionalize to determine if it is really necessary to establish a Philippine National Branding Council? The researchers have chosen this topic as an indication of the need of systematizing a more dynamic, efficient, and timely strategic branding system for the Philippines. Indicatively speaking, the fundamental objectives of the study are the following. First, to assess the different theories and models of globalization and public diplomacy which are associated to the components of the nation branding processes. Second, to enumerate the Philippines Department's efforts in providing positive measures towards the building of a more refined Philippine image and reputation. Third, to determine whether or not these endeavors have sufficed the consolidation of a firm and rational branding policy for the Philippines. And lastly, to propose recommendations on how the Philippines can further empower and concretize its own national branding strategic system. In the domestic public relations model, a government hires or establishes a public relations firm or council and even lobbies of a particular entity to achieve its aims. A government promoting this kind of approach believes that this course of action is more efficient and dynamic in comparison to the direct government procedures of endorsing one's interests across national boundaries. The establishment of a public relations council can focally target the strengths and weaknesses of the branding campaign of an entity. Through this model, it confirmed that having marketing and public relations experts or specialists will undoubtedly further systematize the endorsement of the Philippines as a bountiful state. At this juncture, to be further discussed is the significance of the study, which will be explained by Ms. Micaela Alejo.
Indicatively, the study will be beneficial in three different categorical scales, namely on the national, the regional, and the international levels. On a national level, the government and the civil society in the Philippines will be provided of an in-depth research study that will illustrate theoretically grounded recommendations that would further mobilize and concretize the nation branding measures in the country. On a regional scale, the Philippines being part of the Southeast Asian nations, the findings of the study would be beneficial to the other sea countries, having a common structure of multi-ethnic societies by presenting a realization that branding the nation through shared culture would open numerous doors for cumulative development for the country. And lastly, on an international level, this study will contribute to the existing body of knowledge and would further motivate academic discourses and will enable immense collaboration between the political actors and the civil society as to how to further systematize nation branding in concept and in practice. This paper employs an intrinsic type of case study method that will use various documents in gathering data. Therefore, it will derive its information through written or text-based materials such as journals, commentaries, textbooks, official websites, and indexes. The researchers will analyze specific data which are supplemental to the research question in order to elucidate the sub-questions posed in this paper. Moreover, the researchers have chosen from a wide array of data to further expound on the specific information needed such as statistics, trends, and other evidence that will be conducive for the study. In this study, the researchers will analyze the data collected from country indexes, statistical information, and the comparative results of different journals in a way to prove the efficacy of other nations' branding that would be beneficial in the context of the Philippines. Observations will be done in order to come up with the most truthful results. In addition, these trends gathered shall be used to clarify and validate the claims of the journals, commentaries, or even textbooks in its purposeful claim that is central to this research, also to the initial research questions and sub-questions posited above. Lastly, the data collected will be gauged through the sectors of trade, tourism, foreign affairs, and other key departments that are responsible for the development of a country's nation branding. All data are subjected to comparison with the same trends that are present in the context of the Philippines. As we bring this presentation to an end, we would like to thank you for your time and effort in taking interest in our research proposal. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us as we now open the floor for comments, questions, and recommendations. Again, we thank you and we hope to hear from you soon.